What's up, everybody? Come on, dance and sing. Everybody, get up and do your thing. How are you guys doing? I am Legendary Damon, and this is Legendary Talks, episode 104. Getting ready to do the next 100. Hey, Leslie. Hey, guys, thanks for joining. We have an amazing guy coming on in a second. Larry Sims, who is a good friend of mine. Hey, Lamar, what's up? Long time no see. Larry is joining us right now. Hold on. Hold on, I'm trying to... All right, I'm trying to pin you, Larry, but... Welcoming the amazing Larry Sims. Welcome, legendary. What's up, Larry?
Hey, King.
Yeah.
You look amazing.
Well, you know, all for you.
A great sweatshirt for you.
Amazing. And listen, I appreciate that. Trust me. Me and Grace is right there.
I love
So how are you feeling, first of all?
Huh?
How are you feeling?
I'm great. I'm great. How are you?
I'm really good. Thank you for doing this. This is my 104th episode.
I feel super honored. I know how many people love you and support you, and I'm just glad to have made the cut.
I am glad that you're doing it. So ditto kiddo, right back at you. But I will say this before we start. I always say this about you, that, you are one of, when I first started coming to LA, you're like my first LA crew and my first LA family, and the fact that you really welcomed me. There's a crew of you, and you were one of them that really welcomed me and kind of, really supported me. And I always think of you when I think of, when I think of you, I always think of that. So thank you for that.
That's amazing. Of course. I mean, I remember when one of the first times we had met each other a few times, and I remember saying to you, I don't know if you remember this, but I remember saying to you, you're gonna remember my name. You're gonna know who I am one day, because the world of Legendary Damon is so it's such a whirlwind, and it's so much great, amazing, beautiful energy. And to me, I remember I feeling like I want in, I want this guy to, because we have mutual friends, to know who Larry Sims is. And after you never forgot.
One of the questions I ask most of my guests is, what's your first memory of me? I'll go first about you, is that it was your friend Elle, who I know because Elle and I worked, my first job ever in New York was at Macy's department store, and we worked together. I love that job, by the way. And he came up to me and he said, you don't know Larry? Because you had brought Queen Latifah to my party in New York. He's like, you don't know Larry? You better remember Larry. You better remember Larry. And guess what? I never forgot Larry. I mean, so that's my first memory of you. But what's your first memory of me?
My first memory of you was in New York, and I just remember so many of the people that I love and respect and know, celebrating you. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I got invited to one of your parties. You didn't know who I was. They were trying to get me. I'm such the humble guy. I'm not trying to be a part of the whole hoopla, but I remember them trying to pull me in. And I just remember seeing Estelle, and I remember seeing Khalees, and all of these people, and I'm like, this guy is a freaking rock star. And it went from there.
Yeah, and then we became fast friends. So
yeah, we did fast friends.
So on the show, I don't know if you've seen any yet, but so I celebrate people that have been very important to culture, in whatever that entails. So it could be I don't know, some behind the scenes, some in front of the scenes. People can be very well known or not as well known. None of that matters to me. It's just that we celebrate people's cultural contributions. So that's why you're here today. So that's just so you know.
I'm gonna do one thing while we're getting into it. I'm going to lift my chair up just a little bit.
Okay. Nothing wrong with a good angle, right?
Yeah, just to get that angle right and get it. We want to give Grace a little love.
Yes, we do, always. Okay, so first, describe yourself to me as if I did not know you. And any whatever comes to mind.
I am Larry Sims, born on the west side of Chicago, living in LA, that is driven by creativity. Everything about me is based on creative, and that's the core of who I am. It's creative and spirit, you know. That's what I lead with.
Great answer, by the way. Okay, so you're from Chicago, I'm from Detroit, and I think that's probably one of the reasons we get along so well. I always say, Midwest, we have great morals and we have really strong work ethics. So then we take this to New York or LA, and we really, it's unique in those cities, So I think that that's probably where we connect, and in a real way. But how did Chicago influence your adult life?
Chicago, it's like one of those things. Like, born in the Midwest in particular, we didn't have it the easiest. Like, we don't have like immediate and easy access to everything that is shiny and glimmery. We had to work for that level of access and visibility and just culture. Like, for me, like, I have Chi-Town tattooed on my arm. People from Chicago that, make it out of Chicago that are creative, we're very passionate about that. Even people that aren't creative, like, we just hold down Chicago in ways that we hold down our parents, like, at least for me.
Oh, please. I try and let every single human I ever talk to, I let them know that I'm from Detroit. I like any conversation we have, I'm like, Trump sucks, I'm from Detroit. Like, I just throw it into every conversation I can, like, in any capacity. So yes, I understand that. Something about the pride of, Chicago or Detroit or Midwest, I think is very, it's very Midwest, I guess, but yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Another thing too that I think, and I describe Detroit this way, and they're similar towns. Chicago is a little more actually, I guess, sophisticated or larger. But they're gray towns. Detroit's a really gray town, so it's like you either kind of go in the direction of gray or you kind of create something yourself. It's only two ways. There's only two sides of that street. So like, I think it's sparks creativity, that kind of like, grayness. I mean, for me personally, but
Yeah, it's interesting because I used to go to Detroit. There was one summer in my life where I would go to Detroit every single weekend. I would get on the road. I would drive there. It was about a 6-hour drive. I did it sometimes by myself, and
yep.
It felt like, what LA feels like driving to Vegas. But that's all,
yeah.
All I knew was Chicago, Detroit, Cleveland, Indianapolis. Yep. I lived in this Midwest bubble before I was exposed to what the rest of the world had to offer.
Well, listen, I'm going to one-up you. We drove from Detroit to Chicago, and Chicago was a bigger city, really. Like, Chicago was like the big city. We drove to Chicago one night when I was probably 15 or 16. My friend drove, and we had like the wildest night I had had up until that point, like in Chicago. I mean, that lasted a whole 24 hours. But
yeah.
Okay, so I want to ask you a couple questions. So, what's the first song that ever like blew your mind or that you really connected to? Non-Michael Jackson. And the only reason I say non-Michael Jackson is because everybody always says Michael Jackson. So something non-Michael Jackson. No shade to him, obviously. It's just that, other than Michael.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so a lot of people don't know in terms of my history. Well, a lot of people do know at the same time.
Yeah, we'll get to that. We're gonna get to that. Tell me the first song that you really kind of blew your mind when you were young.
It was Dajah, Brighter Days, and Cashmere, Time for the Percolator. Like, in Chicago, growing up in that, like, the thing about Chicago and the Midwest, I guess, like, when songs bubble in our communities, in our little, sort of like part of the country, it becomes like almost anthems for us, right? Yeah. So when Time for the Percolator came out, and a dance came out with it, and Brighter Days from Dajah, I need, like, those records in high school for me were just like records. And of course, you can go back into like, the things that your mom grew up on, that mom grew up to, when, on Saturdays when you were cleaning the house. But house music for me, like, changed my life. That's different.
It's interesting that you say that, because I kind of forget this. I completely forget this. But again, growing up in Detroit, I knew kind of all the house music guys. They were just guys that I knew, and other people kind of looked up to them, thought they were amazing. I was like, they're just like DJs and stuff. But then they became these kind of like, very, very influential guys for house music. It's so funny. I forgot completely. Growing up, it was house music. You're right.
Yeah.
And then if there's a movie, like what's the first music video or movie that kind of, you know, either described you or that you really kind of, you know, blew your mind? Not Michael Jackson.
First music video that probably blew my mind had to have been Rhythm Nation from Janet.
Amazing. Yeah, I agree. That video is, I can watch that video every day. Seriously, still. I mean,
Yeah.
like the song and the video, even the first 8 bars of that song get me going. You mean? So,
Yeah.
yeah, it kind of blew my mind too in the fact that I first of all could not believe, I guess the song and then the dance, everything. Yeah, it was amazing. You're right. Good one.
Like that.
And then if you remember, like what was kind of a major fashion moment for you? Whether I would say like could be like Diana Ross, Mahogany, whatever. What's the first kind of major fashion moment you remember just, I guess, growing up?
Major fashion moment probably would have had to have been like I was enamored by Donna Summer.
Great.
I was enamored by Jane Kennedy.
Oh, yes. Listen, that was my next question. People forget about Jane Kennedy. She popped up on some Instagram thing like in the 70s, and I started following this Instagram. It's all about her, and I forgot about her. She's amazing, right?
She's amazing. Because
my question to you was going to be, who was the first black model that you ever, remember?
Yeah.
Was that her?
Yeah, like, Beverly Johnson, I remember her.
Yep.
Jane Kennedy just felt relatable to me.
Yeah.
When she did that movie with Leon Spinks, it was a fighting movie. I forgot the name of the damn movie. Probably people that are watching this will be able to talk about it. But like, I remember that movie, and I just remember being so fascinated with the fact that she was a brown girl and she was so beautiful and she was being so celebrated. And yeah, I love her.
Because the reality is, like, things like Foxy Brown and stuff, that's before our time. Like, I didn't really, that was stuff I learned about later, I feel like. But, yeah, Jane Kennedy, I forgot. And I saw her recently, I completely forgot about her, but she was stunning. Like, totally stunning.
Stunning.
And then I have another question, too. I think it's really interesting. because the creative people like us, like you said, we're from these Midwestern towns, and we had to seek out creativity. It wasn't like, there was no internet, there was no things like that at that time. For us to find stuff, we had to, we found it. We were very thirsty and hungry for it, but, we had to go to, I don't know, bookstores or magazines or whatever. How were you getting your information? MTV, books, magazines. How were you getting kind of, I guess, your creative information as like a teenager?
Yeah, my mom was really good with making sure that she got me out of the 4 corners on the west side of Chicago. At 2nd grade, I was actually on the waiting list for a school called Walt Disney Magnet, which was like a performing arts grammar school. They had a performing arts program. I fell into drama and singing and dance through that school. And from that experience, I wanted to continue it on because it was just something that was so dope outside of my West Side community. And I met people that were auditioning to go to Lincoln Park High School, which is sort of like our fame of Chicago. And I auditioned and I applied to some other, schools as well, but I auditioned as a theater major and I got in.
Amazing. Great. Kudos to your mama. And then what do you think, who or what was influenced you during that time? Could be a person, could be like an artist, or like, who was your kind of one of your main influences growing up?
Definitely my mom, because she saw something in me that lived beyond our circumstance. So I appreciated her for that. And she always has been super encouraging. I have 2 other siblings, a sibling who isn't here anymore, and then I have an older sister. But she always pushed all of us to live out our circumstance. So my mom was definitely that, and also my peers. Really being able to be in an environment that was so creative with kids that come from so many different environments really inspired me to push forward.
And as you know, and I think only people, I say, the act of getting on a plane, first of all, what are you drinking?
This is amazing. Okay, so I went on a wine tasting trip with Gabrielle and Dwayne and a few of our other friends. And this is one of the bottles that I picked up from one of the vineyards. It's a cab, and it was grown in 2016, and it is absolutely delicious.
Amazing. Cheers to, what should our drinking word be?
What? You tell me. I'm a guest.
Success. Let's do success as our drinking word.
Cheers to success. Bam.
Cheers. Okay, so I'm drinking Belvedere and tonic, by the way. Okay, so
I was hoping.
Yeah, I would say too that, you know, the act of getting on a plane and moving to a bigger city is something that not everyone in New York and LA has to do. I mean, so I think people like you and I can really understand that, you know, it's about taking yourself out of these situations and exploring larger situations. You know, I feel like, you know, a lot of people, some people I know have done that, some people I know haven't done that. You know, they were just born in New York or born in LA. So there's something about it that makes us a little more ambitious and hungry, I think. That's, you know, so.
Yeah, we got to work.
What's the first club you ever went to?
The first club. Okay, so the first club I ever went to was probably with, gosh, I'm torn because my sister, who's trans, took me out to my first club at 16 years old, and in Chicago, and I used her boyfriend's ID at the time, who was 6 to 108 pounds, which is not me, okay, especially in high school. So that was one, and then also Cashmere and Dajé during my sophomore year of high school by way of a good friend of mine, Leda Villegas, or she goes by Lady Soul now. That's from the west side of Chicago. You know Lady Soul?
She comes in LA sometimes?
She does come to LA sometimes.
I think I met her through you and we connected. She's sweet, totally sweet.
She's totally sweet. So we went to grammar school together, high school together. She's the person that introduced me to dancing professionally. And me and her in high school, she was a junior, I was a sophomore. Cashmere took us to New York for a show with Dajé, and we performed at the Sound Factory bar. I had no business being in that club. We were
amazing. That's an amazing story.
We performed, yeah.
So let me ask you this. Like when, so you, I guess going to Sound Factory, how old were you, 16, 17 you said?
16, 17, yeah.
Describe that to me when you walk in, because I vividly remember the first time I walked into a nightclub. I just was kind of like, I felt like angels were singing. You know, I felt like, you know, I was like, there's a light beaming on me or something, you know? How was it for you?
First of all, I was like, I hope nobody kicks me out. I hope nobody asks me for my ID. But it felt like freedom. It felt like, it felt like, oh my God, is this what it is like to be free in this club? It was the first time that, outside of me hanging out with my sister, me being in New York and seeing the vibration of that energy. You know, Barbara Tucker performed that night. You know, Frankie Knuckles DJ'd that night. It was just unbelievable. And that vibration never left me. And it inspired me to continue to fight.
It's funny that you say that now, because as we're talking, I'm remembering different things too about myself, is that when I visited New York 6 months before I moved there, and the first night we went to the Limelight, which I ended up working at within months, and Sound Factory, before I even lived there. So that was the first club I went to too in New York. But my actual first club was in Detroit, and same thing, like when I was 15, my friend from high school, her uncle owned it, so I harassed her for a full year to be able to go. And she finally turned around one day, he said we can go. I swear again, I thought I heard angels. But I remember going in and going immediately to the dance floor, and just the lights and the smoke and the sound and everything. And I was on the dance floor, I think, for hours. And the next day I went to it just felt great. It felt really good. And I went to the mall the next day, and all the cool stores, they were like, weren't you at the club last night? Weren't you at the club last night? And like, the rest is history. I'm like, yeah, I'm still at the club.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
You are the club.
True. I am the party. I'm a fun time, I would say. Okay, so when did you start to kind of really get into dance and start dancing professionally?
So, yeah, Cashmere and Dajé, they were my, you know, intro to dance. Once I realized it, I mean, they were paying me like maybe $50 a show, and then it went to $75 a show, and then it went to 100 and something bucks a show. And so I just, as a kid in high school, I just couldn't believe that, you know, I was getting paid to dance and hang out and travel.
Yep.
it was amazing. And so it all started in really.
And then what are some of, I guess, because I don't really know either. I mean, I know you worked with Missy for a really long time, right?
Yeah, yeah.
What are some of your dance kind of, what was next after that, the next step? You know, like after your, after high school, what was your kind of your next step dance-wise?
Right. So I barely made it out of high school because I was missing so many days in school because I was performing so much. Like Percolator blew up, Brighter Days blew up. So, so I barely got out of high school. Not because I'm not smart. I'm very smart. But just because I kept missing so many days. And I ended up getting out of there. The next gig after, me and later created Nubian Soul Productions, which was a choreography sort of like production company. We worked with Shantae Savage and everybody under the sun, Sparkle, that, Better Be Careful. Everybody under the sun that was Chicago. The group that, I can't forget, Gillette that sings Don't Want No Short Dick, man.
That's so funny. I remember that song. That's so funny.
I know.
I remember that. That's so funny. First of all, wait, let me point out, always the entrepreneur, even at a young age, always the entrepreneur, starting a production company.
So Gillette Short Dick,
you want to be successful. That's what you wanted. Cheers, right?
Yes, cheers to success. I'm telling you, it was either go to college, because I had gotten accepted to a few colleges, or go on tour with Gillette off of Short Dick Man. And the first stop was Africa. And I chose Africa. And
obviously, I'm like
exactly. And it just never stopped. And it just continued on from there. I danced with Black, Bring It On to Me, Boom Like an 808. Through Chicago. That afforded me enough money to get me to LA. My first audition was for Missy when I got to LA for the Get Your Freak On music video. I booked it, and she just kept hiring me, job after job after job, tour after tour after tour, album after album after album, and it just went from there.
Because y'all are still friends now. You guys are still really close, right?
Miss?
Yeah.
Yes, that's my sister. That's my sister.
That's what I'm saying. So you have a pattern of also becoming really close with people you work with, which says a lot about you and them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then any highlights from, the Missy thing's amazing. Your first edition is Get Your Freak On music video, which you book, and then end up working with her for years and years. Yeah. What are any highlights from the Missy, I guess, era for you?
Oh gosh, there's so many highlights from my Miss years. Like Missy really showed me so much love, and she really deposited into me. Like I got very lucky because Missy is super loyal, and she, is one of those artists that not only is iconic, but if you have the opportunity to get to know her, she is attractive. She took me under her wings as her little brother, and it was just one of those interesting moments. Like, you have to think about it. Claudine Joseph, my baby, my sister Claudine.
She's on here right now, by the way. Claudine, shut up.
The Violator days, you got, so many moments that were so magical that I really wouldn't have been privy to just as a dancer. Like Chris Lighty, God bless him, God rest his soul. I was able to be in the offices because at one point I didn't know if I wanted to continue to dance. I was trying to figure out how to transition. It was between and going to I had gone to cosmetology school, I got my license, and Missy and I were traveling together, and I didn't know if I wanted to be Vidal Sassoon or Puffy. And she's like, come with me. I'm going to take you under my wings. I'm going to teach you the ropes. So I lived with her, between Miami and Jersey. Claudine was there during the whole time. I was able to see Chris and them, manage Busta and Tweet and, LL and so many artists. It was just mind blowing. I was in the studio with Fantasia doing records with Missy and Jasmine Sullivan and Monica. And so many other people. It's just something that I will never forget, and it really changed the core of who I am.
Well, I think that's why she did that. I don't know her that well. I've done a couple parties with her stuff. She's a lovely person. I don't know her know her, but I think that's why she did that, because I think that people in that position can either just be in that position or they can really pour into other people and share these opportunities with other people so it can change their life, which is, I think, probably what she was doing for you, allowing you to have this access into all these different things so that you would forever be changed, so that then you could go on and be really successful. She was sharing her success, no pun intended, her success with you. So, you mean? So, you know.
She was. I'm telling you, man, it's one of those things where you can't, it can't be replicated. The time that we've spent together, the experiences that we have together, it will forever be the fabric of my being, and I really contribute who I am and the success that has come to me. A big part of that is Missy and my Violator days, and you know, like when I see Claudine, I'm just always just, you know, my heart is filled up because she was there with me during those times, and it's just dope to see.
I've seen you guys together, and it is a very special bond you guys have. Even when you just see each other socially in passing, you guys give an extra long hug. You guys look each other in the eye in this way that, like, you know, I know you both very well, that, you know, I don't think you do to other people. You guys do have a very special bond. I can tell by looking at the way you guys greet each other that you do have this special bond. It's really nice to see you, by the way.
Special, and I think will forever be my sister. And I'm so proud of her, too, with everything.
She's amazing. Claudine's amazing. Yes. And then also, so how did you, so okay, you're kind of doing the Missy thing, and then you're at like a crossroads or something. How did you get into hair exactly? I don't know that.
Yeah, so the way that the hair transition happened out of Missy was, you know, a lot of my friends that were A&Rs, because in my mind, I thought that I was going to be an A&R, you know, under Missy's wings. But, you know, the business, you know, started to fold, mergers started to happen. A lot of my A&R friends that I knew started to lose their jobs. So I was like, okay, I have this cosmetology license. The business feels like it's stacked on top of each other and kind of crumbling a little bit. And it probably isn't a good time for me to pursue a career as being an A&R. So I, you know, eventually moved to LA. And I had to transition. I had to figure out how to transition. I had left dancing. I hadn't danced really with Missy like that, but I needed to make some money by way of dance. And to make a long story short, I ended up booking Dream Girls. I ended up booking Stomp the Yard when I got to LA. And I ended up booking a gig with Jessica Simpson for the Teen Choice Awards. She was performing, the People's Choice Awards. She was performing Boots Are Made for Walking. I ended up having a laptop open in the dressing room of like models that I had shot in Chicago that were just my friends. And that was my portfolio, no celebrities. And Jessica Pastor, which was Jessica's wardrobe stylist at the time. She was dressing the dancers. She saw what I was looking at and was like, what are these images? And I'm like, oh, I styled these girls' hair. She's like, what the hell are you doing dancing? You need to be a hairstylist. I'm going to introduce you to Ken Pavis, who was Jessica's hairstylist at the time. She introduced me to Ken. Ken ended up hiring me to work in his salon on Robertson. I ended up assisting him, and he wasn't available to go and do Victoria Beckham one day because he was off doing J-Lo on something, and he sent me to go and do her for it was like Vogue China, or Harper's Bazaar or something. It was like a huge publication. And I went in, I worked with Victoria that one time, and it changed my life.
Did you give Victoria the bob?
I gave Victoria the bob.
That's what I'm saying. Hello, tell the, you know, that part of the story. So you gave Victoria this bob, which was kind of like a huge moment for her as well, and it happened to be you. And then so is that kind of like, then your whole thing took off, or what happened next after that?
Well, yeah, it's like for my first time alone to be somebody international as Victoria Beckham, David Beckham, you know, and there's like some behind the scenes stuff as to how the bob even came about. But the fact that the bob happened and people like all of a sudden started seeing these images in Grazia magazine of me like with the bob and with Victoria and with David in the background, and people were like, who the hell is the black dude with the Beckhams? And it just changed from there. I remember my first interview under the Larry Sims brand was with Vanity Fair. and they wanted
It's
tips.
crazy. That's
I'm not,
crazy.
they wanted tips on like the bob, and I'm like, are you serious? They want tips on this bob, and it just became a whirlwind after that.
Amazing. Amazing.
Yeah.
And then, so what was next after that? Like, what was your next kind of break or your next moment after that? Because that's obviously your big break right there. But then what was next?
Yeah, so the Bob happened with Victoria. We did the Spice Girls reunion tour. We did like we had a good solid maybe like year and a half, almost 2 years, and then it started to happen. Like people started to call. So now I wasn't available. Now like things were happening, and it started off with like Christina Millian, and then Eve, and then Garcelle Bouvet, and then it just became this thing. And it just has not stopped.
It has been nonstop, by the way. But getting back to like, so I'm just retracing in my head. So around the time that I met you in New York, I remember Rashida was getting her hair done by you.
Yeah.
Rashida was getting her hair done, and she was always late to our party, her party, because she was always getting hair done by you, like on a Sunday night or something, But she would come with this hair. I'm like, that hair's amazing, and she was like, oh yeah, Larry. She was always gassing you, and then because I feel like a lot of people were talking about you as well, at least during that time, and before we really knew each other.
Yeah.
And then like I said, we got to become good friends, and you've hosted a million parties for me, and we've done so many cool things together, and I think you're like a fun guy. You like parties and going out. It's really obvious. I like that about you.
Yeah, I do like parties. I like going out, but I like good energy. You know what I mean? Like I don't like going out to any and everything.
Yeah, no. You were very selective, and you were also very supportive of me. I'll say it again in the beginning. You would always tell me that how sophisticated and chic and everything I was doing was for LA, and you were very supportive of my LA endeavor. So
Yeah.
So cut to since I've known you, so you have literally worked nonstop since I've known you, as in like every day. Every time I talk to you, like, oh, I have a 6 a.m. call time. Can I tell them what you did today? Are we allowed to talk about that or no?
What did I do that? Yeah.
Okay, so I was like, do you want to be on my IG Live? And he was like, oh, well, I have to do Alicia Keys. I don't know if I can do it now. Like, but that's so you. You're always doing something amazing, and to me, in case people are watching and don't know, you worked with everybody good. I mean, people that I know off the top of my head is like Lupita, Tracy Ellis, obviously Mary J. Blige. Have you done Missy's hair? Did you do Missy's hair or no?
Yeah, okay, so fun fact about Missy, back when I was like assisting her and trying to figure out my A&R of it all, so loyal that, she gave me my first cover.
Amazing.
It's Jam Rock magazine in Jamaica. We actually did 2 covers in Jamaica. This was the same trip, unfortunately, where we were on in the Bahamas. She passed away. We lost Aaliyah that same trip. But before Aaliyah passed, Missy blessed me with my first 2 covers, and and we actually shot something. God bless her and everybody else, by the way, of course. But me and Missy shot something after that. 2 years later, Annie Leibovitz shot something with her, and she called me on to work with her. And it's like Missy is the gift that keep on giving. I'm telling you.
And also, didn't you do Zendaya with that flat top? You did that, right? I love that. Listen, it's very grace. I love that so much. I think I even text you like, this is so amazing. I just want to point out that you've done tons and tons and tons and tons of amazing special Claudine's things. Zendaya, I know Claudine. Tons of special, amazing, really creative moments. Obviously you can do very beautiful moments, which you're great at that, but you also do these really creative moments as well, which I love when you do that too. Kind of like beautiful is beautiful, but edgy is also, I think, beautiful. So so I love when you do really edgy things. Why do you, and to your testament, you, I think, become friends with most of your clients because of who you are, but why do you think you became so successful, and why do you think you are in such demand and still are, like, every day? Ever since I've known you, you've been in demand.
Jeez, I mean, like, and thank you for that. I really, like, it's interesting because as long as I've been doing this, as long as I've been, I guess, successful, I never take for granted that it's owed to me. I never take for granted that it's going to come. I expect it. Every single call, I get excited, you know, that
Yeah.
for things that come through that I'm like, oh shit, wow, like thank you, like Alicia, like you know, thank you for wanting me to do the So Gone video where we're able to do like an old school jumbo Swiss. You know, I have, you know, Zendaya, I've worked with her since she was 14, and we have like, you know, she gave me my first Vogue cover. I don't even know if she knows that. I'm sure she knows that because she thinks like she's super smart. But she gave me my first Vogue cover. We just, you know, shot something that's coming out very soon. Gabrielle, you know, she is, and I became friends before. She and I worked together.
I'm just trying to hire you right now.
Gabrielle and I were friends. We met like through her movie Bring It On. I was dancing with Black. They're in the movie Bring It On, and we met each other because she was introducing us for a radio show, and she, you know, I was dancing for them after the show. She's in our trailer. She's like, "Where are the cocktails?" I'm like, "Follow me." And we became friends, and 5 years after that, you know, 5, 6 years after that, during my transition, she was one of the first people, along with Dana, Queen Latifah, that said yes to me. So I feel like I've been really, really, really blessed and been put in a unique situation.
When did you realize that you've made it? Like you have made it, basically. What's the moment?
Yeesh. The moment that I realized I made it, um, it's funny because I think that it wasn't like one job or one person. I remember thinking to myself at one point in my career, it hasn't stopped. It hasn't
Yeah.
stopped. It hasn't stopped. It hasn't stopped. As a matter of fact, I need a break. And that
Yep.
to me was the moment where I was like, holy shit, like, this is real. This is
Yeah.
like, it's real. But I never took it for granted also. Like, during
Yeah.
the pandemic, for example, like, top of the year like everybody else, I'm like, am I gonna bounce back? Am I gonna be like, am I gonna get phone calls like
Yeah.
once this finally starts to open up that I have a great run and now is it over? You know what I mean? Like all of those things go on in your mind, and
Yeah, of course.
it's interesting because it's like now I'm working like it just never stopped, and I'm just really grateful.
And I will point out that, you know, around award season, you and I, we see each other a lot of different things, and you're like, you know, like on the day of, let's say, I don't know, the Emmys or Oscars or something, you're like, oh, you have so-and-so from 10 to 11, someone from 11 to, it's like, you know, you're like, you know, but you manage it really well, and I have to say, you do seem really grateful. You don't seem like, I've known you a long time, you don't seem like you're over it, or you're like, oh, I had to do, you know, Lupita's hair or something. You know, like you really do seem, number one, excited, number two, really grateful. So I think that's part of your success, obviously. It's all, you know, reciprocal that way. So
I appreciate that. And look, Damon, it can all be taken away. You know, great about my childhood is that because I grew up with a lot of nothing, like
yep,
I understand what that feels like. And
yep.
I don't know. I never take for granted anybody's phone call.
Yeah. But I get that from you. You seem that way. You know, I know other people, I just know people in the industry that are just like, oh, I have to do that. I'm like, are you getting paid? It's just shut your face, you know, like, but again, I think it's from the Midwest. I keep referencing Midwest, but I feel like, you know, we're kind of hustlers in a good way. You know, you know, I'm like, I could, you know, I do the same thing. Sometimes I take on 3 different events in the same night. I can make it happen. You know, like, I'll make it happen.
And I've tried to chase you throughout the night at all 3 events. Where's Damon?
One thing I will say about you is, you know, sometimes you are a little tardy for the party. Listen.
Oh God, I hope Gabrielle's not listening to this because she will be the first to tell you about my little tardiness. But
Listen, part of your charm, love you, but part of your charm. Wait, so let's talk about Gabrielle for a second. Obviously, Gabrielle is an amazing human being. What she's doing right now, you know, in the past, I guess, 2 years or whatever, what her and Dwayne Wade are doing to me is so important, so special. So I just, you know, I've told you many times what they're doing. I'm obsessed with them right now. I don't know him at all, and I like in my head, he's like this, you know, my best friend in my head. I love what they're doing. I think they're really changing history and doing something that's just so important. That being said, she's a real fun time. Gabrielle is very fun, as we both know. So your guys' friendship to me is so genuine and so real. And so anytime you're working together, it's like two literally BFFs working together. I love seeing you guys together.
Yeah.
You know, she's fun. She's amazing. She's fun. She's funny. She has tons of energy. And she's a fun time. But your guys' friendship in particular is so special to me to see. And I've seen it, you know, I think I met her without you for the first time, and I told her that we were friends, and I think her face lit up. Like she, you know, she genuinely loves you. You genuinely love her. It's such a mutual, great friendship that's based off of loving each other, and everything else is icing on the cake. You know, so and you can tell that.
Yeah.
But that being said, you guys now launched a product line about how long ago?
Yeah. So we launched with Amazon August 3rd, and then the soft launch with Sally Beauty Supply September 1st, and then we just did our full-on launch October 1st with Sally nationwide, including Canada, Hawaii, actually. So it's been amazing.
What's the line called?
Called Flawless. Okay, hold on.
Listen, as you should, please do.
This is Gab and I.
So cute.
Yeah, Flawless by GU, and it's been amazing. We have 12 SKUs. This is one of the, the light is kind of blaring it out. This is one of the products. If you're on my IG page, this is one of the pictures from our photo shoot. It's 12 SKUs. It's a product line that is for us, by us. And you know, we everything is under $10 or less.
Great.
Make it affordable and accessible, no matter what your social or economic status is. And it's for textured hair from 2A to 4C. And we're just really honored and excited to be able to provide an answer to people, especially during these times that really a lot of people can't afford to go out and be at salons or, you know, purchase these very expensive products. And I'm happy that we're able to create something that people can afford, that's reasonably priced. And
I think it's awesome. I didn't realize it was so reasonably priced. I think that's awesome. I'll post it for sure tonight. And anything else you want me to post, I'll post, and I will continually post and support it. I didn't realize it's so reasonably priced. That's great. Good for you guys. That's awesome.
Thank you so much.
And then, what would be your dream job?
Oh God, I feel like I'm living it, to be honest with you. Like I've done so many things. I love hats. I'm working on launching a new hat line. I launched one earlier this year, last year. I had a collaboration with Central Avenue, which was really great. You know, the seat at the table that I have with Gabrielle is amazing. Flawless launch originally years ago, back in 2016, maybe, I think it was. But regardless, the whole point is it launched. You know, she was going through IVF. She didn't feel comfortable. She had bald spots. It was a whole thing. And when she was able to wrangle the company and sort of like restructure it, she said, I don't want to do this without you. Like, I can't do Flawless without you. And I want to make sure that you have a seat at the table. In her words, she said, ain't no fun if the homies can't have none. So
one of the many reasons we love her. Listen.
Yeah, that's why we love her. So not only did she give me, you know, equity in the company, you know, but, you know, she allowed me to develop the brand and the line with her, and she trusts me. And it's just been absolutely a dream come true to be able to be in business with one of your best friends at this level. And it's been really dope. I have so many other things that I'm working on, but yeah, right now I'm living the dream. Good.
Yeah. Remember when we did the book launch parties all over the United States? That was so fun. Yeah, she's fun. She has lots of energy. She has tons of energy. I love her. Mm-hmm. Okay, so let me ask you a couple fun questions. What are the 5 best parties you've ever been to in any capacity in your life?
Oh God, 5 best parties in any capacity in my life. Um,
Nepal after party, something, anything. You mean?
oh gosh. Let me just think. Let me think. I've had so many. Janet, I've been to a couple Janet parties that I can't um, basically disclose. One thing about me is that everything will go to the end. You know what I mean? I've had fun times with Missy. I'll say the people that I've had fun times with. I've had fun times with Missy. I've had fun times with Janet. I've had amazing times, obviously, with Gab. I've had amazing random times um, overseas, particularly Paris Fashion Week last year was a blast. And your parties, Damon, obviously are great. You know one great party that I remember from you that I will never forget? Well, two, I would say. One was the Edition Hotel, Lion Bay, who I love. So many people were there. It was so much fun. And
Oh, it was in the lobby. Wasn't it in the lobby? It was small. I
it,
remember. That's right. I love. You're right. Something about that lobby is a special energy. I'm really big on energies, and that lobby. It's just a lobby, but it has a very special energy. I know what you're talking about. Which
yeah,
party? Yeah.
and then the Gold Room in New York too. Always,
Yes. Gold Bar's amazing. Yep.
yeah. And then also, I just gotta say this last one. Any like Met Ball after parties, it's just chaos. It's a great release after we've ran around and gotten everybody done. Everybody's having a good time. It's just fun in New York during that time. I miss New York.
Met Ball after parties are one of my favorite things each year. You know, I prepare for it. I'm ready. I'm going out all night. You know, I stayed up till 6 in the morning last year, and I'm proud of it. I don't care.
Yeah.
Another thing, yeah, it's funny that you say it too, because I'm not a big talker either. I'll have these amazing, fabulous nights, you know, and it goes to the ball that one. So, I think that's well. Yeah, also, we're usually with people that we care about, so that has a big, a lot to do with it. So, so.
Of course. Of course, I did one last one that I have to mention is the Golden Globes in Style after party. It's always
Yes.
chic. It's always a vibe. It's always like, I
I've never,
pulled
I've
up.
never been to Vanity Fair ever. The Vanity Fair party yet. I've never been to that one.
That party is a thing. Yeah. Yeah.
I went with Janelle Monáe one year, and they didn't let me in.
Are you serious?
That's okay. I wasn't invited. I wasn't supposed to be there anyway. Okay.
But when you show up, I have to say, like, I have to just celebrate you for a second.
Okay.
The way that you show up, your commitment to the culture, your commitment to fashion is so inspiring. Like, I can't believe anybody that wouldn't part the Red Sea for you when you.
I agree.
You're a contributor, babe, to the party. You're a
Yeah.
contributor to the experience. You know what I'm saying?
I agree with you 100%. And I do believe, and I mean this humbly, that if I didn't get into a party like that, it's their loss. I mean, I'm like, I know half the people there, I'm going to connect certain people that would never have met otherwise without me. It's their loss. I mean, so.
It's never the people. It's always the people at the door. It's never.
I know.
Yeah, whatever.
I mean, listen, I didn't bat it out. I said, listen, I wasn't invited. You know what I mean? I'm not invited anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me ask you, what are your the five best hair moments, like in history, whether it be yours or Donna Summer or something, the five best moments you think off the top of your head, hair moments of all time? Could be yours. They could all be yours. They could not be yours, whatever you want. You mean?
I mean, I'll be fair and not mention all of mine. For the culture, well, actually, anything Janet did was inspiring hair-wise.
Yeah.
Anything that it's interesting. Like I was inspired by Jodie Watley's street style.
I love Jodie Watley so much. I love her. She's amazing.
I love Jodie. Like just her freedom, like coming from the day, like it just felt so free and so club and.
But I remember she was wearing Converse and Chanel together. I'm like, that's so dope. You mean, we were young. I was young. You mean, I was like, I love her.
Yeah, Jodie's amazing. I love my moment with Lupita for the Oscar.
Yep, of course.
I love that high top moment with Zendaya.
Yep, love it.
For sure, for Main Addicts. That actually came up in my house. I mean, there's so many. With Gabrielle, actually, I have to say, the women's health cover that we just did, that was the first time that we actually shot a cover with all of her natural hair, no
I
clip,
remember that. Yep.
no anything. And so that was a major, that's very definitely a major moment for me, for the both of us and
Yeah.
our career and in her journey as a Black actress, to be
Yep.
able to be on the cover and to feel like she's worthy enough to be on the cover with what she was born with, which is a
Yep.
place where she never was before.
That's really powerful if you really think about it. If you really think about all that, that's so powerful and such a great inspiration for many, 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 many people. You know, that's great. Good for her. Kudos to her again. Yeah, listen, I love her. I could say it a million times, but I love her. So, you know.
Tracy Ellis Ross, Kerry Washington, Regina King, the Glamour magazine with Regina King that just came out. So regal, so royal. It's just,
You know what's interesting? I'm sorry to cut you off. Regina, Tracy, Gabrielle, Dana, they're all amazing. I know them now. Some I met through you, some I didn't meet. They're all amazing people. They're wonderfully kind people. So it makes sense that you all would get along so well. Everyone you're mentioning is turning to be a friend of yours, or I don't know, whatever came first, friendship, or besides Gabrielle, friendship or client, whatever. But like, you know, they're all wonderfully grounded, normal people in this industry. So I mean, that's interesting. All of them.
and I say no to the weirdos. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
exercise your right to say no. I say no to the weirdos. I can't be bothered with the manic energy or the weirdness. Like, I need peace. And what I will say that is still in the most humble way possible. I've earned the right to say no and to protect my peace. And
Absolutely. Listen, absolutely. If you're stressed out, all it's going to do is affect your work tomorrow, the next day, everything. So, you mean, you're stressed out over one person, it might affect your whole week work-wise, you know, like your mental state.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, for the weirdos with me, and, you know, obviously I am around, I like weirdos sometimes in a party, you know, but I would say I keep them this far. You know, they don't come near me. They're like, they can be 6 feet. They can you know, I've been social distancing from weirdos for many years, so.
Right. But it's like for me, because I'm hands-on with what I have.
I know.
Like, if I have to touch the weirdos and that energy has, because it's
No, I hear you.
energy, I
I
can't.
hear you.
I can't. Yeah.
So if you could have 4 people to dinner, living or dead, who would you invite to dinner?
Living or dead?
Anybody.
God.
I was gonna say, good one. Yep, good.
I just had a reading and Tupac showed up, and
Right.
I'm being.
Did you ever meet Tupac?
Huh?
Did you ever meet Tupac?
Never met him.
I met him. Yeah, he was exactly what you wanted. To me, he was exactly what you wanted him to be. His energy was like engulfing in a great way. So.
Yeah, I would have to invite him.
Yep.
I would invite my mom.
Yep.
And the 4th person that I would probably invite would be Sammy Davis Jr. because he's the first person that, as a preschooler, I performed as when I did his rendition of Mr. Bojangles.
Amazing. I love that. That's great. You should find that photo and post it. Where it all started.
I have that photo and footage.
I know you do. Okay, so before I wrap it up, I want to ask you a couple quick questions. What inspires you right now in life?
What inspires me right now in life is this election.
Okay, good.
Sure that we use our voice and our power and our platforms to create change. I recently discovered that 2 of my nephews that are in their 20s have never voted before. And I didn't realize, I mean, I've not lived in Chicago since '99. And I stay in touch with my family, but it was just very, it took me aback to know that so close to me, under my supervision, kinda, just felt so displaced. And so, yeah, I'm inspired to inspire others to use their voice and to use their power, the same power that our forefathers fought for in terms of like our rights to exercise. This is the most important election of our lifetime.
Absolutely, 100%. You're taking the words out of my mouth, first of all. I love that that's what inspires you. My goddaughter, who is trans and 19, I asked her about a month ago, are you voting? And she said, no, my vote doesn't count. And I said, what do you mean your vote doesn't count? I said, boo, if Trump wins again, he is going to, not in the first 6 months, give him time to settle and do some other crazy stuff. He's going to go after trans rights even more the second term and erase them, trust me. And she goes, you're right, I should really vote. I'm like, yes, you should vote, and get all your friends to vote too, you know, so.
Exactly. And it's our responsibilities, Damon. I mean, just imagine how many people that love and respect you, that go to your
Right.
parties, you know what I mean, that love like, they look at you, they celebrate you, you know what I mean? Like, you have so many people that look up to you. We have to use our voices to inspire those who don't feel inspired to make the change or difference.
Absolutely right. And for me, my personal focus has been that kind of like under 25, you know, under 25-year-olds, like the 18 to 25-year-olds. So that's just where I've been personally focusing on, really being like, yo, you're voting, by the way, go vote, you mean? Anyway, we have like 1 or 2 minutes left. What are you, we have 3 minutes left. What are you grateful for right now in life?
I'm grateful for favor. I'm grateful for good health. I take COVID tests so many times. I'm probably on like my 23rd or 24th at this point. And I'm just thankful for a clean bill of health. I'm thankful for the roof that is over my head. I'm grateful for the career that has allowed me to be able to sustain in a very comfortable way. I'm just thankful. I'm just thankful. I'm thankful for favor. Thankful for it all.
I love favor as an answer. That's amazing. And then finally, how can we support you, whether it be, you know, it is a weird time. You're working, it sounds like, quite a bit, but some people aren't working, some people are working. It's a very strange time in our world. How can we support Larry Sims right now?
You can support me by going out to vote. That's how you can support. I mean, but you can also support me by going to purchase Flawless, obviously.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
supporting me is supporting Gabrielle, and that's supporting Flawless, which is for the people, it's for us, by us, which is an amazing opportunity to, you know, be able to support a Black-owned business, but also support yourself. Supporting me is supporting yourself. And using your platform, using your voice, going out and telling your families, going out telling your friends, everybody that follows you, go out and vote, make the change, make the difference. Now's not the time to be lazy. It's life or death, seriously.
Absolutely, 100%. All right, well, Larry, I want to thank you so much for doing this. This is my 104th episode. I'm so thrilled and happy that I get to celebrate you as someone that's been so important to culture. I mean, you know, we've just had, you know, an hour conversation from like basically childhood until now. You have been a creative, hardworking, you know, just person that has devoted their whole life to being creative and to culture. So, you know, it's not just, you know, the last 5 years of life. That's your entire life. You've been extremely important to shifting culture, people, and things. And, you know, I really want to celebrate you for all that. And I want to celebrate your hard work. You know, I know how hard you work. You have such a strong work ethic, and your, you know, humble approach to all that. You know, you're very successful, but you're also very humble and work really hard. Those are all a lot of different things going on. And you're kind and generous, and you're fun. You're very fun and supportive. So I want to celebrate all that. So
thank you. And I just got to say one last time before we leave, thank you for your platform. Thank you for celebrating artists. Thank you for celebrating art. Thank you for celebrating expression. Thank you for allowing us all of us creatives, to feel safe when we're judged by so many different elements from our family, from our friends, from our peers. You make us feel safe. You make us feel like we're at home. So thank you for providing those platforms, those spaces for us. And please continue to do what you do.
Thank you. I love you, Larry. I wish you all the success in the world. Cheers, and I'll see you soon. I'll see you soon. Yes. Queen Grace. Thank you, Larry. See you soon.
See you. Bye.
Bye.